go live, it's ready, so.
Okay.
Did you start it?
Go ahead.
Okay. We'll call to order this special meeting discussing the Town of Atlanta Employee Handbook. Working our way through this kind of preliminary composition of this thing. And I believe we're at 4:05, unless
I
somebody
agree.
else has a different recollection.
Sounds fine.
Emerged at 4:05, correct?
Yeah.
And Kathy did say she is available by phone tonight, so if you have any questions, or if you, something that we've already went over and you have questions concerning that, she said we could just give her a call.
Four or five seems pretty straightforward. I don't know if anybody has any other considerations there.
I do.
Yep.
The problem we got into with Andy and the 409, was that what it was that you had to redo? How do we prevent that from ever happening
You are
again?
allowed by law to change your tax withholding at any time.
I don't think she's talking about, I think she's talking about more like when
The
I paid
payout,
him
right?
out.
Yeah,
And the attorney said I did the right thing, because I talked to Alex and he said, you have to pay them out by law on the next paycheck. And so I went ahead and that's how we got
Sure.
got in a mess, because I paid him out, but then you guys kind of changed it. And
Yes.
then, yeah,
Yes.
so that's,
We
I think
did.
that's what you're more
yeah.
talking
So
about.
how do
Yeah.
we prevent that mess from happening
I
again?
don't know,
I
but it
think-
was a mess, I will say that.
Can we come up with just some kind of a form that if somebody were to separate for whatever reason, how do you want?
Your last
You know,
paycheck? Or
Are there any alterations before we send you your last check? I think that'd be a really, yeah, and it could be just a simple form. It could even have some other informational things on there about if there are insurance options going forward or whatever, you know, a separation form of some kind makes some sort of sense. So I don't know.
Right, just so you don't have to redo what you've already
Yes.
done
Yes.
again.
Any other considerations on that? Okay.
Yes.
Administrative pay corrections.
That makes sense.
I wonder how many of these things it would be useful to have some kind of a form for, because it seems like if somebody wants to dispute their pay, then being able to put it in writing would be helpful for everybody to be on the same
Fine.
page
Right.
there too.
Time dated, everything, just
Yeah.
an official document.
So in
There's no
writing
argument
on-
later.
Okay,
So,
Form.
or any kind of a, maybe there could even just be some kind of a more generic form that's a dispute form of some kind that could have pay and other things on it, right? That way we don't have to have 100 forms.
okay.
One form with possibly a checklist at the top, a pay
Sure.
dispute, last pay,
Yeah.
you know,
Or even a, you know, any other work complaint or something like that.
My hours are wrong or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a little checkbox and then an explanation at the bottom.
Sounds good.
Okay, 4 410.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Oh, here at the bottom, employees may contact for additional information regarding pay deductions and how they're calculated. I mean, again, it's another form, part of the form
Be
that
that
I think,
discrepancy.
yeah.
So yeah, this kind of makes sense. We're kind of identifying some of the other documents that could be helpful.
Yeah.
Documents, forms, informational packets, whatever. Can they, do we have, I'm sure we do. Do you have like an employee onboarding informational packet that goes through all this stuff?
It doesn't go
Potential
through
benefits,
this particular
withholdings?
stuff. It, just, it gives them your
Just a
tax
tax form.
withhold, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, we could make something to where that
Well,
is in that packet.
If we end up looking at something like UKG or Kronos,
Yes,
you can do a lot of that HR stuff through there.
okay,
And like I just did it a month ago, our open enrollment for the benefits for next year is all on there, and there's clear instructions for everything. You can change your tax withholdings on there and all that stuff.
that's nice.
So I don't know what that would cost, but the less paper you can have laying around,
Right.
you know, they do whatever they do on there, and you just get something that's real easy to decipher on your end of what's being changed or what's being requested or whatever. That seems like that could be pretty easy way to conduct
Either way.
business.
Okay. So then we're okay with 405 and 409, once we put that little in there about, you know, having a former in writing.
Mhm.
And 410, we're okay with that then?
Yeah, I think so. I think some
Pretty
supplement.
straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe allude to if we do create a form.
Yeah.
That, you know, whatever that official channel for disputing something or for requesting a change should
Okay.
probably be identified in our handbook, right? But that's as simple as adding a sentence. But, and also we have to create the form. So there's that.
Okay.
501, safety. I think we need to take out that you're required to wear a lifting belt.
Where's that one?
Maybe we could encourage the use of a lifting belt. It's
Second one.
second one.
Okay.
They must wear a back supported belt.
They are encouraged.
Yes.
They
To
are
where?
encouraged, it's
Yeah,
required.
and hopefully that's not something that's an OSHA requirement. I know the way we handled it at school, we handed everyone out a belt. Said, here's this belt.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to wear it or not.
I think
Yeah.
most of OSHA's concerns, as far as I'm aware, have to do with like respiratory, eye protection, hearings, and visibility. But that could be something where maybe it is a requirement. That's one of those that I'm
Trust
not
it
going to
isn't.
ask the.
No.
I'm not going
And
to
that's why
ask the
said,
question because if I'm out there in a hole, that's going to get in my way.
Sure.
You know.
Very
She'll
important.
tell me if it is. She'll tell me if it's a requirement that needs to stay in there.
So you'll ask about
But
that.
then if we specific, but then we would be better off probably not even
Just not to mention
mentioning it.
Right.
Because I don't want to say you have to
Gotcha.
do this, and then in practice we don't do that, and now we're putting them and us in a bad position.
Mhm.
I don't know. I would like probably on this list here says airborne debris, eye protection. I do think the town having some sort of respiratory protection available, some sort of a particulate mask would be good, and then hearing protection. You guys see me with my earphones on all the time.
Sure.
If I don't think about it, I don't hear the ringing in my ears.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm constantly, mine
it's-
are destroyed. for
it's-
years.
Yeah.
It's a small thing that we, a $30 set of cans can protect somebody for the,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
the rest of their life. So, if we could add something about hearing and respiratory protection, I think that'd be a good idea, and at least have those things available.
Murray, what's the current practice if somebody needs to go get checked out? Where do they go? The emergency room or?
Yeah, that's where I went when I got hurt, and then they refer you from there. Jennifer has all the work comp
Okay.
stuff. But,
I just wasn't familiar with that.
Duty assignments, probably needful in the event that we have a situation to where they're given restrictions.
What's that?
Who's
Down
on
at
it?
the bottom of the page,
Yeah, temporary light duty assignments.
didn't mean to jump over the drug and alcohol test. Employee injured on the job may be subject to that. That's, I think that is it.
I know the insurance company likes to see
Yes.
those every now and again anyway.
Right.
We've conducted them in the past at their prompting, and then also at our own. Just, hey, it's a good idea. Let's go get this taken care of today, kind of a thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, certainly in the case of an injury or some kind of damage to property, both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know that I'm sure we talk about damage to property at some other point here. We'll see.
508 talks about the accidents, in the event of an accident.
Okay. I know that we require, I think it's 25-pound. You can't be below 25-pound weight restriction and drive any kind of piece of equipment for the city of Noblesville, or certainly for the fire department. And that was an insurance motivated thing. So if there was an injury that had and you were going to do light duty, that's a potential limitation. I don't know if maybe we need to find out from our insurance company some of those kind of details. Because, if they give you a 5-pound weight restriction, you could do
Can't
some
drive.
office work, I guess, maybe.
Right.
And that's about it. 25, maybe you can run some errands and drive a truck or something. I don't know. So that would be weight restriction. Let's find out about that. Okay, anything other than what we talked about for 501? Does anybody else have any considerations there? Okay, 502, work schedule.
Where it says full-time employees are expected to work at least 36 hours.
Yeah, that's
Should that be-
interesting.
Should that be 40?
I think 36 is like the state minimum or something like that.
To maintain
Yeah, it still falls under
the
full-time.
status.
I see.
Because we ran into that with the sheriff's office when we got our part-timers.
Okay.
When Obamacare kicked in, that was
For
a restrict-
insurance.
That was a restriction because they still allowed us part-timers to work overtime. And then we ran into an issue where it's like, all right, we can't work more than 40 hours. And then commissioners and council had a meeting. They're like, well, the state says 36 hours is still full-time status. So that means they had to drop us and I think they capped us at 32 hours a week.
Hours of work are 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, 52 weeks later unless they're scheduled. Okay. Then it lists the departments here. It lists the clerk's office from 8 to 2 and the utilities department 8 to 4.
Other on-call considerations? Or is that covered in another?
I don't know.
Yeah, I will have to
Taking
maybe
notes.
get over here and, compensatory time. I don't know.
509 call-out employees. Call-out assignments.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a possibility,
Yeah.
as we know,
I think 509 covers that.
in this line of work.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Do we need to clarify or change anything with 502?
I don't believe so. It states the hours. And there is a paragraph in here right below that that discusses lunch breaks. It
Yeah.
says at the discretion of the town, non-exempt employees may be authorized to take a rest break and or unpaid meal period during each shift.
So we have to give them 2 15-minute breaks, right? You have to give everybody 2
Yeah.
15-minute breaks. And non-exempt again would be like somebody who's not salary, right? Isn't that what we determined at the last meeting?
There was a question about that. I was-
Or am I mixing it? I might have it reversed.
No, it's exempt. Like Luke is exempt, we determined.
Okay.
We felt
Yeah.
like he was exempt.
So
He's hourly.
Yep.
He doesn't get a salary. He's hourly.
Luke?
Uh-huh.
No, he's
he's
salary.
he's
salary.
salary. It's based on an hourly calculation,
Mhm.
which means he's required to work
Mhm.
a certain, that 40 hours.
Mhm.
That was one of the things,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
then there's
that's what-
also comp time.
Yeah.
Instead of like Matt, if he were to work more than 40 hours, he gets paid overtime.
Mhm.
We're non-exempt as a salary with no overtime. Am I correct? I know that. It's
You need to
confusing.
call her and you guys can, and she can kind of explain that, and then that way if you have questions, she can answer that question for you guys.
Because I know the school gradually started changing everyone to, and I can't think, I was salaried. I no longer got overtime. My son is salaried, even though he's not in a supervisory position currently. They made him I want to say a non-exempt employee, where he gets a salary.
Okay, so I might have them backwards.
But I could too, Murray. I'm confused on it.
Yeah, I was listening to the tape before the meeting,
Uh-huh.
and on the tape, you guys had determined that Luke was exempt. Now, whether,
So that means he gets paid the same. And with the municipality, for budgetary reasons, that's why they do it, because they know what that pay's gonna be regardless
right,
of if you work 20 hours or if you work
Yeah,
60 hours.
as long as you're not getting in the hole on your hours.
Right.
You're
You know,
always going to have the same pay.
For on-call though, does he get more compensation?
no,
You just come out.
No overtime, no, just.
You just work less
you
some
work-
other time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
You
following-
compensate your hours.
Yeah.
Right, you just know
hopefully.
what that comp time is, but you can definitely you can accumulate that fairly quickly depending on what's going on.
Mhm.
So the plow hours, he will just take off extra time.
Yeah,
his
and I think
regular-
he also adjusted, like he didn't work 8 to 4 any day that he's plowing. He
Okay.
come in and if you come in and plow for 8 hours overnight, then maybe you just don't work the next day if you're not
Right.
if there's not something pressing.
So who takes care of the routine stuff then? Like making the rounds?
Well, you would have to do that. Say, for example,
Okay.
say, for example, if that was his primary responsibility, if we had an employee that their responsibility is to do the rounds, that
Mhm.
takes about hour and a half, 2 hours, 2 hours at the most.
Yeah.
Okay, say you plowed all night
Mm-hmm.
and, you got down at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, you could choose to go home and go to bed and maybe sleep for 5 or 6 hours and then go do the rounds, or you could do the rounds at the end of your shift and then
Either way, there's no getting around
No
that
getting
work
around
being
that.
done,
Right.
and at some other
Okay.
point in time, you'd get some time off work.
try to, it's a trust situation. I mean, from
Oh, sure.
employee, employer, I think the employer and employee both have to take some responsibility and make sure that okay.
I don't know if the distinction here is important then on this paragraph. It says at the discretion of the town, non-exempt employees may take a rest break and or unpaid meal during their shift. And then later it says if you're working and trying to eat, you get paid. But whether you're exempt or not exempt, you ought to be able to take a 15-minute break
Right.
and you ought to be able to eat.
Exactly.
And so then the question is, I guess, paid or unpaid.
And
Other than, if we're not going to specify that, which maybe we should, I don't know. But if we're not going to specify that, it shouldn't say non-exempt employees. It should just say employees.
And we need to understand too, this is a policy manual. I mean, in the event that you have an employee that is just, is lazy,
Yep.
doesn't want to work, you've got it in writing here. Hey, look,
Sure.
this is, and and they'll sign this. I mean, upon hire, they'll read over this and sign it, that they've read it and understand it. Protects us as an employer.
I agree, Mary, it should just be just employees in general.
Just employees.
Yes.
Okay.
That way there's no argument when it comes to who they are.
Okay. 504, phone and mail.
Straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of, that first paragraph's kind of dated, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, we don't have really, I guess you can make.
Is there even, there's not even long distance call.
I
No,
like-
don't think so.
They
No
don't
more,
make a
not really.
distinction between
Even on
costs
a
there.
landline,
I don't-
they don't
I don't think
distinguish
so.
between,
Maybe? I don't know. That's actually a really good question.
It's
It is.
few and far between, you know, we still have it every once in a while with the sheriff's office.
I mean, do you ever make a long distance phone call from your landline phone? Does the bill ever,
No.
You know, that's all
it's
kinda
Usually
just-
1-800 numbers for me.
Is use of, are personal calls addressed in here somewhere? Just generally speaking?
I don't know.
should
Make a
be
note of that.
something.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because like you said, there's gonna be employees that may push the limits and want to sit on the phone, you know,
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
It's
I
just-
just, I read that.
Okay. You want to leave 504 as it is for now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. 505.
I don't have an issue with folks down in a ditch or something and
Sure.
light a cigarette. I mean, that's, if someone
I
smokes,
do.
that's a, you know, I know in a public building,
Yeah.
town hall,
And actually, state law is 8 feet away from the door.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's
Yeah.
Those lines
So I
get blurred
suppose-
sometimes,
I
but
suppose we leave that policy there.
sure, you can't smoke in the truck.
Yeah,
You can't smoke in the
Right.
building.
and, you know, but.
And if you're directly bothering somebody, whether it's
Exactly.
somebody you're working with or somebody from the public,
Exactly.
which is what this says. If you're
Yeah.
directly bothering somebody, stop.
Okay.
I don't smoke now, but I used to, so I know how, remember how it was.
Okay, 507. Here's,
This
we
is
did some of this last time, right? Or we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about,
overtime compensation for all non-exempt employees. So that kind of describes.
Okay,
Non-exempt
so
is eligible for overtime.
right.
in lieu of overtime for, wait a minute.
Overtime
But comp time,
will
the
be
town of
paid.
Atlanta encourages the use of comp time in lieu of overtime for non-exempt employees.
Non-exempt employees. Overtime work assignments.
So I think this first section here, if we're operating under the premise that a non-exempt employee is getting the same check all the time and they're operating off of comp time, generally speaking, would that mean that this first couple, the part talking about compensating an employee, it should be for exempt employees then, right? If they're not the ones that have the comp time available.
Would you like for me to call Kathy?
Is then
You
if
guys
you
can
had,
talk about
is then if
the
you,
exempt
if you
and
brought somebody in
non-exempt.
for extra help, they're just getting paid straight up for their hours, and if it's over 40, you get paid overtime.
Call her and ask her.
Just make a clarification.
Yes,
Clarification on that.
exempt and non-exempt. Who gets overtime, who does not? I'm confused. I want to say that,
And then we find out, we'll write it down.
yes,
I mean, and you guys aren't the only ones that are confused. In our classes, a lot of people, it's hard to.
Maybe that would be useful if this is a term that's going to continue to come up through here,
I'm guessing.
to have a definition section of this policy handbook.
Yeah, 201 kind of spells it out too, if you look back at 201.
I remember going over it, I just couldn't find where it was.
maybe.
Hang on.
Maybe we'll have a definition. Hang on, yeah,
An employee is designated as either non-exempt or exempt from federal and state wage and hour laws. Non-exempt employees are entitled to overtime pay under the specific provisions of federal and state laws. Exempt employees are excluded from specific provisions of federal and state wage and hour laws. Exempt employees are paid on a salary basis
Okay.
that does not vary week to week based on the quality of work
Okay.
performed. In other words, exempt employees are paid to get the job done. Thus, exempt employee
Exactly.
pay will not be reduced in any fashion for partial day absences. So is okay. So the distinction between an employee that gets overtime versus one that gets comp time is us then in our salary ordinance saying that this person is
exempt or non-exempt.
no, because they would both be non-exempt the way I read this. Because look at this right here. It says overtime and comp time is for non-exempt employees. Both. So how do we decide whether Luke's
wait a
getting
minute.
paid overtime or whether he's getting paid comp time?
507. Well, it just described in that.
So we just decide so if it's a part-time or extra help or like how do we distinguish between Matt and Luke? Let's say even if Matt started working 40 hours here. Or do you?
Yeah, even if Matt worked 40 hours, I mean,
But he wouldn't start accruing over comp time, right?
no,
So how,
because he's getting paid hourly.
sure.
Luke is getting paid a salary. And that's the difference.
Okay,
Luke
so
gets-
it's salary
Luke
versus
gets-
hourly, still not exempt. So we need to define then, we need to differentiate those two.
Mhm.
A non-exempt salary position gets comp time, a non-exempt hourly position, as we would define it in our salary ordinance, I guess, would be overtime, anything over 40. Because that would then be like the person, whether short, medium, or long-term, we hire for extra help or a special project or something. Hey, the next couple weeks we got this special thing going on. We're just going to pay somebody by the hour, and they end up working 3 50-hour weeks. They would get 10 hours of overtime each week instead of comp time. Does that make sense?
Non-exempt employees are entitled to overtime pay under the specific provisions of federal and state laws. That's in 201.
Yeah.
Exempt employees are excluded from specific provisions of federal and state
Right.
wage and hour laws.
But it looks like exempt would be if the job requires you to be here for 60 hours or for 20 hours,
Exactly.
you're getting paid the same no matter
Exactly.
what,
Exactly.
which would then bias somebody towards potentially being here, quote, fudging down their hours worked
Well, you've got your,
because they're going to get the same check no matter what.
but you've got your back
But they don't,
here.
there's no benefit for them staying longer in the form of comp time.
And you've got your, that's why that's in there about your set work hours. You know, we want you to work 8 hours a day. Normally, on a normal day, we want you to work 8 hours.
Thus, an exempt employee's pay will not be reduced in any fashion for a partial day absence, except when permitted by law, such as unpaid intermittent FMLA leave.
Confusing. So what you're saying in essence is that you have an employee that is non-exempt.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm only gonna work 30 hours this week, just out of the blue. I'm just gonna work 30. I mean, he's not allowed to do that.
Correct.
Unless, you know, the previous week he had
Right,
an 80-hour week or
right.
a
You'd have,
a
there would have to be
70-hour
time
week.
there of some
Right,
kind to
right.
cover that.
Right.
Just trying to think how you differentiate it, because I think they both, the way I'm reading this, they're both non-exempt. Because it says overtime and comp time, both in reference to non-exempt. So then how do we differentiate who gets what?
Is there a difference between the two when it comes to a comp time incurred and the one we pay out? Because Luke can
So-
accrue comp time, correct?
So so this is a thing here. So comp time shall be taken during the quarter of the year that it's earned, regardless of the time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah. You carry over a maximum of 20 hours, so you can bank some comp time for the next quarter. And we might need to adjust these hours. There is a certain point where you're supposed to get paid out. If you've not been able to use that time
Yeah, mine
for a
is,
certain amount of time,
for the county, it's 36 hours. And then we
Okay.
start accruing over. But that's something that we can change, because it was like 60 hours when I first started, then they bumped it to 36.
and I definitely think
So we
people
can
should be able to
change.
bank some time, and that makes it easier for us to manage budget and things as well, I suppose, because it's more consistent
Because
pay.
something else with us, like for our comp, when we build that comp time up, we can ask for permission, we have to go to a commanding officer for it, but we can like, hey, can I take 10 hours of that, pay it out or something like that, just smash it.
So compensatory time is just straight time paid.
Yeah,
You
but it
take
says,
If you take it as payout instead of time off, it's just straight pay, right? Or do you take compensatory, take time off?
If you take time off, it's considered regular time. If you're working your hours and have that paid out, then it can be,
And that's where,
that's where you get the overtime. That's because for us, usually it's, you work your required hours and then I'm wanting to take additional money out or additional hours out, cash them out, and it's paid out of overtime, right?
Really?
But that's under special circumstances and you have to ask permission.
Oh,
Because it falls under, but when it, as it comes from that, it's all budgetary as well. It's like, do we still have, or are we still good on our overtime budget? If not, it's like, we're not able to do that right now.
and I hate to keep referring to the school, but
Mhm.
they've eliminated all overtime.
And they can do that.
nobody works overtime, and they just have to figure out a way to,
Mhm.
you know,
I think with certain positions, that's a great idea, but it's one of those like,
it's,
If you're not staff heavy, you
yeah,
cannot do that.
it's just,
well, and that's the thing with like this situation. So like
Yeah.
you get multiple, like we get a severe winter storm, or
Right.
they're constantly out there.
right, I mean, you
Yeah,
can't
we're-
expect people to work for
One of our
nothing,
guys gets hurt, or,
right,
Mhm.
exactly,
you know.
you're down one,
Yeah, because like for us, I think it's either 5 or 10,000 they budget out for each officer overtime status.
I say,
Once you reach that, it's like this. All right, this officer can't get any more overtime unless special approval. I know quite a few officers have hit that middle year when it comes to certain positions.
Okay. Overtime.
And at the bottom, it goes into, the town may at any time choose to pay out all compensatory time to employees.
Mhm.
And,
But I'd say it's a town discretion.
So is it
Right.
this,
and then it's talking about it at the regular hourly rate.
so is this, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe it's at the option of the employee whether they want to use comp time or whether if they were over on their hours, they just want to be paid for it.
What's our,
Stay on the next
what's our
page.
current limit of comp time? Is it set amount? Or can they just occur comp time?
No, this, she actually got this from our comp time policy that we have right now. This,
The 20 hours and,
yeah, that's the,
yeah, it definitely needs to be higher than 20 hours.
Yes.
yeah. Well, I've got it here, Chris, somewhere. Normally.
I agree with Murray. That can definitely be hard. What do you think, Murray? 40?
I was thinking like 80 is probably a good place to start. That gets you a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
And if you're real busy through a special project or something like that, but you were, you know, there's a slower time of year somewhere else where you want to take a couple weeks off, that seems reasonable. I don't know.
Yeah, ours is capped at 36, and I think 36 is low.
Yeah.
Because you get into certain things, special community detail or something like that, you can put some serious time in.
Yeah.
So do you want to change that maximum 20 hours to,
I think it should be 80, but I do still think that we need to figure out how to differentiate. Is it at the option of the town? Is it at the option of the employee? Is it if somebody's just working part-time for you, but they end up exceeding a certain number of hours, do they start accumulating somehow? And so then they just have they would get those hours on it, get paid up to 40 hours and then get the next 40 on the next check or whatever,
I'd say part-time.
I mean,
I'd say part-time is, it's paid out unless they're full-time where they can accumulate it.
yeah, but is it a can or is it shall accumulate? That's what we need to answer for a full-time employee.
And how much can they carry over? Can they carry over 80 hours from one quarter to the next, or?
Yeah, I would think so, but I think having a reasonable cap makes sense.
Yeah.
Just a total cap. So
Yeah.
maybe it's not even maybe we even get rid of the carry from one quarter to the next and just say at any time, not to exceed X number of hours
Okay.
without, and maybe there should be something in there that allows for the possibility of more if you have to, but it has to be with approval. Does that make sense? Like if the town got in a jam,
right, that's what I was thinking, let it be at the town's discretion.
once we hit that 80 hours,
Yeah.
like Jennifer needs to be saying to the council, hey, we're, they're there, and then a decision needs to be made of, do we let this person keep working, or do we make them start taking some time off?
Or do we just pay them out and say,
Or just pay them off,
that's it?
pay them out, wipe that,
Yeah.
knock that back
Mhm.
down
Yeah.
some.
Right.
Yeah,
Depending on circumstances, pay it out, or hey, you need to take some time off, time's getting up.
okay.
We do that as well.
So we need to figure out overtime versus comp time. So who's making that decision?
Mhm.
Who does it apply to? part-time versus full-time employee. I'm assuming full-time employee is, we want some kind of language limiting it to them. But then is it a shall or is it a may? As far as, does a full-time salary employee or non-exempt or however we're classifying that, does it will they be operating under comp time? Or do they have the ability to just say, pay me to overtime? We need to answer that
And
question.
if we do a payout, then we will run that through payroll.
Sure.
So then we have to accommodate that in our budget time, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'd have to work on,
What, I've been through a couple budgets. I don't know that we've never budgeted for overtime.
like
I'm-
it's always
I'm aware
comp
of-
time. But if
Sure.
we decide to pay it out, then we need to budget for
Yeah.
I think that
how,
needs to
somehow or another, we need to
put a provision or something like a
look
cap
at
on
something.
overtime or whatever.
Okay.
Encourage taking time off or something like that. I'm seeing if there, you can take a couple of days off or something. Encourage
Now,
Over
when they
80.
take time off like that, are they getting paid?
Yes.
The comp time
Yes.
covers those hours.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
the regular
Yeah.
hours they work.
Okay.
So if I take like a couple of days off, my
So-
comp time and my vacation time.
So we're paying that comp time whether,
Well, you're not, no. If you take time off,
It's being paid at regular hours.
It's being paid at
that's not
regular
extra
hours.
money.
Right.
right, but,
That's the beauty of comp time for a employer.
Mhm.
It doesn't cost them any extra money.
It's just being, it's being
It just
billed at
costs
regular
them, it costs them labor.
Okay.
There's nobody there to do the service.
hours. No matter.
If I work, let's say we were
Yeah.
doing a 2-week pay period, which a lot of places do.
uh-huh,
If I work 30 hours this week and 50 hours next week, or flip them. If I work 50 hours this week and 30 hours next week, I still worked 80 hours over
Right.
2 days. It doesn't matter that I didn't work 40 hours next week.
right,
My checks, both checks are still 40 hours.
right.
The problem is you can get behind them. If somebody never takes any comp time,
Right.
then
It
you
just
end up
builds,
with a,
it just builds up.
so
to-
it needs to be capped, for sure.
Mhm.
That's, take, 80 hours is 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And, with,
Yeah, and see, that's what, because, with Andy having so many, but this job requires a lot, you know?
Yeah.
it does.
And that's where we paid his comp time out. And so,
You know, the crazy thing
That's
too
why.
is there's all kinds of stuff that was not on his time card that he go out and do too. That's just the
Oh,
nature
yeah.
of the job.
Right, it is.
You just end
I
up,
mean, yeah,
It was,
It's-
I remember when I went on salary at work, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I didn't have to worry about clocking in and out anymore.
sure,
I just did the job. And
Yeah.
if I had to go in at 3 o'clock in the morning for a snow event, I went in at 3 o'clock in the morning.
mhm.
And if it come 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock that day and everything was smooth, I'd go home.
Yeah.
If not, I'd
I will
stay.
say he didn't come home very often.
But,
That was always like,
Yeah,
I'll take a few hours
But like
off.
you said, there's just, the nature of this thing is, it's not,
it's not the
Manufacturing.
same as working in a cubicle
No.
for a,
No,
insurance company or
Retail,
something, or retail or whatever.
just
It's
not.
it's a fluid situation.
very,
yes,
just like your line of work. I mean, you might
Yeah.
go in on a 24-hour shift and maybe have 2 runs.
Yeah.
On 24 hours and go in the next day and be out the whole 24 hours.
I'm on about an hour and 15 minutes sleep right now. So
Mhm.
in the last 40 hours.
I guess it's 5 hours.
okay, so we'll work on comp, yeah, we'll work on the comp time. Yes,
Okay.
Okay. All right. Flex time. In certain situations, non-exempt employees, with the permission of the clerk treasurer or the president of the town council, may work an adjusted or flexible work schedule. Okay. So this is basically saying 40-hour week, but if they wanted to work 4 10s versus 5 8s would be a good example of that. I don't care if somebody does that,
No.
as long as they're productive.
mhm.
That actually, I've my schedule is very unconventional, but I have spent periods of time working 40-hour weeks instead of my 56 with the 24s and all that. And I was allowed to do that. And that was really nice because I would work. I mean, when I work, I'm working, but I could go in and work 3 12s and a half day and then have a real long weekend or something like that. And the same amount of work is getting done. There is a reasonable expectation that people be available during normal business hours around here. I will say that for sure. But I think in the long term, if we get, if we get to where we have a couple full-time people again, if one of them needs to be flexible in their week and still work the same amount of hours, I don't care.
Oh,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
it does.
Mhm.
Definitely does.
Okay. And it even says don't exceed 40 hours in a work week. We already know though that sometimes you will. You're going to go home and then 2 hours later somebody's going to call me. So
Yeah.
508, use of equipment, machines, tools, and vehicles. I think this second paragraph, it would make sense to simplify it and say employees are responsible for the equipment assigned to them. Employees should immediately notify their direct supervisor if there's a problem.
Sure.
Because I think
Agree
it
with that.
muddies the water if you
Yes.
say you can go to the town superintendent or the clerk treasurer.
Right.
And right now, we don't have a town superintendent either, and so for something utility related, it needs to be a council member that knows if something's
Right.
broken, because they're answering to us right now.
Exactly. So immediate supervisor. would
Yes.
be- Yep, I agree. Makes sense.
This next one too, we could probably simplify that.
Yes.
And say they must notify their supervisor if they have a medical condition that's going to affect their ability to use equipment.
Since we talked about town superintendent and striking that wording, can we go back and look at 501 real quick? Because it talks about, it should refer to the town superintendent again, probably their,
Employees must report any unsafe condition, that part? Or is there
the
something- oh,
bottom of the second paragraph, where it says PPE, they're required to, should
Okay.
refer to the town superintendent, their immediate supervisor.
Yeah, that could make sense.
Okay. Okay, sorry, but
So we should probably actually make that a blanket thing in here unless it needs to be specific. Is references like that should probably be changed to supervisor. Does that sound fair for this
Mhm.
entire book?
It does.
Yeah.
I agree.
okay, sorry.
Good call. There's a typo there under vehicles. Check oil, water, fuel. It should be tires, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's notify their supervisor.
Second paragraph from the bottom of page 27. And the IRS and how that goes with providing a vehicle. Do we, the annual amount to be reported to the IRS on each employee's W-2? What do you do with that? Or do you do anything with it? But if it's in here, we gotta do something with it.
Right, because we've always,
I'm not against them using it, I'm just
Right, I
wondering
know.
what they're talking about.
yeah, and that's always been kind of a,
The difficult thing is, so practically
where
speaking,
are you at, Marcus, when's different? than
practically speaking, like these big police departments where everybody gets a
personal
car,
vehicles?
what's the likelihood you're actually going to be called in when you're off shift? It's going to be very, very slim. If like Fishers, Noblesville, any of these that are big departments that
Usually the
everybody
only
gets a
time-
car.
Usually the only time you can call it is if you're on call or you're part of a specialty team.
Sure.
There's an expectation.
So then it's considered a perk though, basically. For all intents and purposes, it's considered a perk. You get to drive this thing around when you're off duty, in which case it is a personal benefit.
Mhm.
I think the way that I've always looked at ours, and obviously there's the potential for abuse and we've got to keep our eye on it and there has to be limits. But the way I've always looked at it is if you have to travel around here, you work for the utility department, you're on call.
Right.
So and there's a reasonable expectation that you would need to be in your work vehicle with the appropriate tools or whatever you would have to be able to
100%.
respond to that call.
Mhm.
And so, to me, it's less of a perk. So if you need to run to the hardware store in Noblesville for something personal after work, and there's a 20% chance that you're gonna you might have to go on your way back home, go do something for the town. That's not as much of a perk. That's not a here's a car for you to drive however you want.
Yeah, the way I always considered that, it was a responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it went with your job. I mean, having that vehicle actually did make your life easier. It made it more difficult.
Sure. And I don't know if there's ways to
don't
define
know
what kind of
either.
use is appropriate. Maybe you do a radius without a radius should probably exist, and without further approval, so it's reasonable to go to, within a 30-mile radius or something like
Yeah.
that, to go to the utility pipe or utility supply or something like that, or the hardware store for the town. And then anywhere driving within there is fine, but if you're gonna go on a trip with your family, you don't take our town truck,
No.
No,
because then you aren't available on call.
no, that's right. No, it's just like, as you said, with some of the apartments, it is a perk that they get to take the vehicle, but there's restriction on it. Some it's in county, some it's state, within the state of Indiana, and that's it. And even then, depends on how long you're gonna be gone.
And then how do you even cap that or
Right.
regulate it?
Sure.
It's a good call.
I would be, I think my personal belief is our intention should be that if somebody needs to run an errand and they do it in the town truck, I have zero problems with
Me
that.
too.
As long as they're willing to respond from where they are
Yeah.
at the drop of a hat to deal with
Exactly.
something for
Right.
the town. What I don't want them doing is going and doing a side job with the town truck on
Right.
Saturday,
Right.
or
Right.
going and,
My
basically
concern,
using it as a
You're talking about,
my concern was the
Excessive
daily
enforcement.
value for this as reported on the W-2.
Yeah, I don't know, that's
If
gonna
we
be.
don't, if,
well, and I will say this, we've always wondered about, because we've had this on our class many times, that they should be, if they have a take-home vehicle, they should be taxed on it. And then, but one way we always felt like, and I was telling Kathy this, one way we felt like we got around that was because, it is considered an emergency vehicle for our town.
yes.
She kind of questioned that, and she said, if I were you, she said, I might ask your attorney about that. I haven't asked him yet, but that's one, I mean, that's been for years. That's how we always kind of got around that, because we have our emergency lights if we need them. We have our logo on there, and that is our considered emergency vehicle. But she said, but it's not
Emergency.
an emergency vehicle. So,
If the town has an emergency, it's an
yes, it
emergency
is.
to
But
us.
she was saying it wasn't like a police car.
Sure, sure, sure.
Or a fire truck, or, and so, but no one's ever said anything about it, the way
Yeah.
we've done it. I mean, we've had audits and nothing's ever been said.
Right.
But,
right, but I'm saying if we're gonna put this in the book, are
right,
we gonna back it up, or are we gonna strike this, or,
yeah.
what are we
Well,
gonna
it
do?
just says it just says it may be subject, so.
Okay.
I think it's one of those, if something does come up later, it's one of those, it can be.
That it's in there and then we
Okay.
need
Yes.
to do it.
That's fine, I just,
Yeah,
that IRS,
Oh, I agree.
yeah, oh, I know, man.
But yeah, I agree. If something does come up, it's one of those like, it's great, it's good to have it in there.
Right.
I think employees should be under the understanding that if they drive a town vehicle somewhere, they are agreeing to be available at the drop of a hat.
Yes.
And if you aren't willing to do that, you need to drive something else.
So kind of keep it the way it is, and then we'll just kind of let.
Yeah.
kind of
It's
let
fine
it-
to ask the question, I suppose, but I don't see a problem with how we're doing it, as long as there's not complaints of abuse, or we're not seeing evidence of
Right.
abuse.
Yeah,
And that's just a case by case basis.
Sure.
but if there are allegations, what are our recourses? Is that spelled out in here too?
Well, it says vehicle usage is not to be for personal use unless the
Approved,
council approves it, right?
right,
And so I'm saying that if Luke takes his kid to a baseball game in the town truck,
Yeah.
that's personal, but he's also
on call.
willing to be on call during that time.
Yeah.
So it's not strictly personal then. Whereas the cop who takes his whole family in the cop car out to eat is probably not responding to a run with his whole family from the restaurant in that cop car.
So Luke
That's
would
purely
leave, Luke would
personal.
leave his kid at the ball game to come out on a run if he was called?
Possibly.
I'm just saying, if he took his kid
Oh, I
to the
agree.
ball game,
Sure.
and then he got a call, does he leave his kid there and come?
I have to leave.
I think it's the likelihood of,
I did.
I think it's
We've all done it.
the implicit expectation of a
Be
potential
somewhere in the
call out
family or something like
Yeah.
that.
versus
Call it out. It's like, gotta go.
we're giving you this as a perk to use. Because a lot of the time too, when people give you a car, they're gonna pay you less,
Oh, okay.
And literally,
but you get to use the car for whatever you want.
Mhm. It's just like a little stipend, but
I'm just playing
Yeah.
devil's advocate here.
Yes,
No, it's good to play out all the angles here.
yes, it
no,
is.
it is.
It is.
You definitely, that's a psychological deal too. You think by talking, so. Let's talk it out.
When you use your personal vehicle to go to conference, are you paid
I'm paying mileage.
mileage?
Drive
Mhm.
mileage.
Yeah. Common practice.
So on 508, we'll change like direct supervisor and
Yeah, those are the biggest things that I'm seeing, really.
Mhm.
okay.
There are this fourth paragraph from the bottom where it's talking about drug and alcohol testing after an accident. I'd be in favor of maybe shrinking some of those limitations down some. It says they may be tested following an accident that has a fatality, an accident in which the driver receives a citation, or where else does it say it? Where the vehicle is towed from the scene,
Oh,
or if there's an injury treated away from the scene. Do you have to have all those limitations, or is it fair to say that the town shall if there's a serious accident, but may in any other circumstance? Or actually, we should probably get to 70, what's it reference here? 702 is drug and alcohol use and testing. Maybe in there it gives some more leeway for testing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
It says refer to 508.
Is it really?
Yeah, it does. I know that's been brought up. I was,
I think in the case of an accident, you do it.
Yeah.
I think just in
Just
general, with an
practice.
accident.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
without, this, you
Because
just do it.
of insurance purposes and
Yeah.
everything like that, it's gonna be called into question.
So do we want to change may, both
Okay.
drug and alcohol testing may to should or will?
Certainly in the circumstances listed, there should be, in my opinion,
Yeah,
a serious accident or an accident involving where there's a citation issued
yeah.
afterwards, which means you're
I know
at fault.
our employees do not have CDL licenses, but with a CDL, if you're involved in an accident and a vehicle is towed, you're automatically,
Right.
automatic.
If we're involved in an accident,
Of course,
in the county,
that's-
we are to be,
Or
we are
says-
to, we are subject
That's a
to
federal
alcohol
law.
and drug
CDL
testing
is
immediately.
federal license.
Sure.
Yeah, so both alcohol and drug testing will be performed instead of may be
I
performed?
think that maybe we leave this list here and go shall
Yes.
instead of may.
Okay.
That protects us.
Mm-hmm.
And if no one has anything to hide, they
It's just
be willing to.
anything
do it.
involving a municipality anyways.
Yeah, right.
An accident is defined as an incident involving a vehicle where there is a fatality, an injury treated away from the scene, or where a vehicle is towed from the scene. Maybe these first two sentences here could be cleaned up and kind of combined too. Because it says, the first one says an accident involving a fatality or an accident in which the driver receives a citation under state or local law for a moving violation arising from an accident.
that's pretty much standard.
But what if there's an injury treated away from the scene or the vehicle is towed, but there is no citation? This first one, the shall, may or shall, this first sentence here makes it look like, to me, fatality or any other accident where there's a citation.
I think you just accident.
It just needs to be accident.
Accident.
I don't care if the cops,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
different circumstances down the road could arise.
Yep.
And
Just so,
or any other,
Any
so
accident.
an accident, following an accident, maybe you just do following an accident, end it there, and then it says, and then start back up where it says an accident is defined as an incident involving a vehicle in which there's a fatality, an injury treated away from the scene, or where the vehicle is towed from the scene.
okay.
Is that exhaustive enough?
Yeah, I think
Sounds
so.
good.
my fear with that is even like, even if both vehicles are able to be driven, I still think there should be testing in there.
Sure. But it
Because-
is, but I do at the same time, what if somebody scuffs the paint on something? So that's something that's an incident that should be known about by a supervisor, that should probably even be written up or go in somebody's record or something like that. But doesn't necessarily arise to,
Yeah, how do
Drug
I
testing.
test?
right.
I think with a caveat, and this is coming from personal experience, because my dad was a police officer, if there's any accusations made as well. Because
So
They
seven,
get-
the
they dealt with-
700 says reasonable suspicion or something like that as well as a drug testing thing. So you could,
Okay, for example, can I give an example
Sure.
here?
Go.
I'm in town, I'm in the town truck, and, I cut a corner tooth close over here, and I clipped the fender of a car parked over there on the street. No major damage done, but damage was done.
sure.
So I go into the music hall and I find the owner and we exchange information and
Does that rise to the?
yeah, does that rise to an accident? Yeah, I mean,
did we put it as like a dollar amount or something like that, possibly?
You won't even necessarily know
Yeah.
that for
If
quite a
there-
while.
if
But that's what I'm
there's
saying,
some-
though, if like an
if-
accident report is to be filed,
yeah, if it's
Maybe.
severe, if it's severe enough that a police officer has to come to the scene.
That's why I'm saying maybe it shouldn't be. There are certain circumstances where it shall be performed, right?
Mhm.
I think we're all clear on that. But I think that it should also be at the discretion of the council or the supervisor of, hey, let's go ahead and get this done, even if it is minor.
Yeah.
And that gives you some leeway with applying judgment in a situation.
Right.
Oh, this is clearly an accident, or clearly the other guy is the one that scraped you, and so we don't even need to worry about this. Versus, you caused $1,000 of damage to this car, but you were kind of acting strange earlier anyway. I wasn't quite sure, but now I'm wondering even more.
yeah, somebody like
And
threw an
so-
accusation, like, oh, they were probably drunk or something like that.
And that's the other thing too. It
And that's-
protects them
It
too.
does.
It does. That's what I'm saying. You go out and just have a test performed, because if an accusation gets made, like if somebody say like, "Oh, you
Can
can't
we-
wreck because you're drunk," it's like,
Is it
"Alright,
worth
screw
putting language in there too, where an employee could, in a circumstance, request a test for themselves too?
I'll see why not.
I mean, I'm okay with the town paying for that.
Covering yourself. I think it covers them and it covers us as well.
So there should be shalls, but
Mhm.
there's also a may from a supervisor
Mhm.
or from the employee.
And then the time frame, there's a time
And
frame.
it has to be within, yes, it has to be within 8 hours of the incident for,
That
uh,
seems,
Alcohol.
breath or your
you're
breath
gonna
or
be sober,
blood.
you're gonna be sober
Yeah,
in
yeah.
8 hours.
8 hours breath or blood,
Yeah.
32 hours for urine. Does that make sense? That's what it says.
Yeah, it's at
If
32.
no alcohol testing may be made within 8 hours, attempts to collect a breath or blood sample will cease.
Yes.
Mhm.
And if no urine specimen may be obtained within 32 hours, attempts to make such collection will cease.
Right.
So.
Okay.
8
Yeah,
hours.
I don't know if those numbers are right or not. I'm assuming there's some
I bet
kind of
they
a
are.
standard.
Yeah.
So keep that. in
Sure.
mind.
So just some kind of language. There's certain circumstances where it's happening no matter what, but then the town still needs to be able to say, we want this done in this case, regardless of whether it meets those standards or not. And the employee, after an incident, should also be able to request themselves being
Okay.
tested. So Mays for supervisor and employee. Okay. 509, call out. Okay. I'm not sure this really applies to us, but I don't know if it's bad to have it in there.
We'll have it in
Okay.
there. Yeah, I agree. Looks good.
Mhm.
Emergency closings.
I mean, is it?
What's your question, Murray?
Does it even apply at all? Other than that, there will be times when people will be called out. This is trying, but this seems like this is trying to address
Well, I understand. If we had-
equitable.
Yeah, if we had 10 employees,
Yes, yes.
we were a little bigger. I mean, this would be.
Yeah, you're not the only one getting overtime. He gets
Right,
some too.
right.
Yeah.
And that's,
You mean
that's
have
where
them
the
take it
list
out?
comes in.
Keep it in?
I'd keep it in.
Yeah,
Keep it
Let's
in?
just keep it in.
just
Yeah,
doesn't
you did.
apply.
This
yeah.
is a guide.
Sure.
I mean, it's
Okay,
something that,
And not
it's better
everything.
to have it. It's
Not
better to have
everything
it.
in here is going to apply to
Right.
everything we do.
right.
Better to have it, not need it, than need it, and not have it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, 510, emergency closings.
That's pretty self-explanatory.
I think that's all right.
Mhm.
okay.
Okay, 510's good.
That's right.
512, business travel expenses. Travel expenses.
We do not have a per diem rate as defined in the town council salary ordinance.
Is that where it would be?
Yeah, that's where it would be. Some court treasurers, the council set, you're allowed like $20 for a meal or whatever. We just use the credit card and we're very reasonable with, yeah. So
I think that's fair. I don't know if there's a way to do it. Maybe you just handle it on a case by case, but like, let's say, you had a conference somewhere. But you wanted to use that as an opportunity to, attend the conference, but maybe stay somewhere quite a bit nicer. Maybe you want to get a Airbnb instead of a hotel, and you're gonna have your spouse come up halfway through, and you're gonna stay an extra day or whatever. Like, how do we figure out what's reasonable for the town to pay of that? Because you wouldn't be going on that trip in the first place if it wasn't for doing something for the town.
right.
So the town ought to pay. What's a reasonable amount per night
Well,
for lodging?
I will say that the ILMCT, they choose the hotel. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They choose the hotel and
I would say you look at the,
What the price of the hotel that they chose would be.
I'd say the price of
Versus-
the hotel in like the surrounding area or something like that. Look, you can't just be like, we're gonna set a set rate, and then depending on what city you go to,
Sure.
it's like you set this rate, and it's like, we're setting it for here, and then you go here, and that rate's double or triple what this rate is. Because I go to trainings constantly, and it's like, oh, this hotel night's $100, and then I go to this one for training, I'm looking at $200-300 a night.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. I'd say it's
do
reasonable
you-
within the area or something.
Yeah, maybe I'm not down to it yet. I'm fine with all that. I'm fine with not defining it as long as there's a reasonable way to approve it ahead of time. Where somebody says, hey, here's what I'm going to do, and it's going to cost this much. You say, well, is there not a cheaper hotel? Well, yeah, there is, but this one's way nicer, and I don't like the other one. Okay, well, we'll pay this much of that. You know, something like that. Like, can you have the conversation ahead of time? Because you could get in a situation where, oh, yeah, we got the suite because, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. Or
Well, I think
we were going to the Fairfield Inn, but the
well, and I
JW
think
Marriott's
really,
right there, and
in our situation though, utilities included, and with us going to conference, they block out
sure.
and they give us those rates.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I mean, you know,
and your conference is there in the hotel.
conferences there.
But that's not necessarily the only travel situation we could ever have either. That's a little more of a structured sort of a travel thing than you could potentially have. I mean, there's other trainings that exist that may, or other town business that could conceivably exist at some point that may require lodging, that are less structured. And so how do you, I guess it does say it has to be approved in advance, so maybe that's your out.
There, yeah.
That's how we do it with most of the sheriff's office. We submit all of what the cost of the hotel,
Sure.
any other expenses.
I'm just
plus
saying, like,
per diem.
if I want to stay somewhere super nice, the town was going to buy me a $200 hotel room a night, and I want to stay somewhere that's $500. How do I turn in something that still lets me get paid $200 back? Or how do I turn in something that doesn't obligate the town to pay the $500?
Maybe like cap it at a per diem or something like that. And be like, all right, you're allotted this money.
Or we could leave it, again, we could leave it undefined and just trust that people are reasonable in this circumstance, and we talk this through before we go. The conferences, a lot of times, like you said, I know the utility ones are the same way. They're at a resort hotel that has a conference center, and they've booked up rooms at a certain rate, and You could find other lodging, but it's probably not worth it.
I think something like that, it's just like you submit it in a timely manner and then it's
Yeah.
able to be reviewed. Because we do that, we have so much time where you have to get approval from so many supervisors.
Yeah.
And it's all for budgetary purposes like this. Oh, it's a great training for you to go to. However, this is how much it'll cost unless it's it's something that's mandatory.
I guess we just leave it at that. Then.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get approval for.
Pending a review or something like that. It's a little chilly in here.
It is
Okay.
chilly.
All right, just leave that as is.
I totally agree. My toes will frozen. Mine are too. I took my shoes
513, credit cards and business accounts.
That sounds pretty familiar
Mm-hmm.
from my experience.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
We're tax exempt, right, on our
Yes.
purchases?
Mm-hmm.
How's that work when you go to, when you go to Tractor Supply? How is that tax
We're-
exempt?
We're set up there.
Okay,
Yeah, we're set up.
so you were set up as tax exempt
Yes.
at our normal,
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Gotcha.
Does it need to say that other employees may also be issued a credit card? It only talks about the clerk and then talks about signing out a card for other uses. I don't think it's reasonable that, well,
Well,
first
this
off, you
says
leave
any
it to,
employee. This one says any employee who has a town-issued credit card.
so are we viewing that like, the council could direct that other specific employees may be
How's that
issued a
normally
card?
work? When somebody purchases something, do you hold the cards and they come here and get the cards, or does?
Well, like, okay, so
Does-
Andy had a, couple credit cards and Luke does not. like I just keep it.
We keep it.
I
So if
just
he
keep
needs something, he comes in.
If he needs something, he
Yeah.
comes in and gets his
Hey,
card.
I need the tractor
Yes.
supply card, or I need the,
Well, Tractor Supply, he
They've
could
got
just
an
go,
account.
do
it's
that.
an
You don't even have
account.
to use a card.
Yeah, and that's how it used to be at Lowe's, but now Lowe's wants him
Right.
to carry the credit. So if he needs something, Menards is on an account, you know, so it's usually mainly, Lowe's or, and then then the regular credit card as far as. But yeah, I just keep it here.
I definitely think that when we do have a town superintendent, they should have one. It's there available, fixing things when you're not necessarily here and may have to go get something that may not be available somewhere that we have a.
Right.
So I just want to make sure we don't box ourselves in
Right.
to it being you having one and then being able to hand out in specific circumstances to people. But I don't know that this does that. So I don't know that we need language to explicitly allow for the issuance of a card. I don't think so.
We're good.
This is, it's spelled out.
Okay,
Yeah.
Employee can have one.
all right, we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
Visitors, 514. Who's an authorized visitor?
Yeah.
And who authorized it?
Again, I think that is a policy that we can have in place.
I
in the
think it's
event-
more
In the event that
for
we need to
violence.
use,
It's some kind, you know.
and if we have a disgruntled citizen that
Well,
constantly,
I wouldn't want, I would want, if Luke goes out and plows snow and his wife wants to sit in there and visit with him while he's doing it, I think that's perfectly fine.
Sure.
If somebody's working, but they're really just hanging out with somebody for an hour a day or something like that while they're doing it, that's not okay, right? And so I don't think that we should say no visitors.
right,
No.
So interpreting this as
so just strike this.
the allowance of, it says there, it says employees should limit visits from family and friends while on duty. It doesn't say you can't have them.
Mhm.
It says that any visitors have to go to the main entrance, blah, 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 which is probably alluding to trying to limit inappropriate behaviors and things like that. So that's fine. And then it talks about an unauthorized individual. So that would
We need
potentially be
that.
somebody that there's either been a legal issue with or somebody that's hostile that had to be removed by police or something like that. Or in the case of an employee that does have their girlfriend over to and they're becoming a distraction or something like that, hey, you can't have visitors when you're working. So I don't know, maybe it's fine how it is.
I think it's
I
fine.
think so.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Vote.
I know I've mentioned it many, many times, but I think that Facebook is a very useful tool for disseminating information. I think our town Facebook page, though, should post and ghost. We should put up that information, and it should not have comments enabled on it.
Exactly.
I do think that people should be able to message through
Yes.
there to ask questions, but we don't need comments on any of our posts.
Nope.
And you actually can get into major trouble too. There's actually been lawsuits about it that towns have lost, where they've left comments open. People have posted nasty things.
I don't,
Somebody from the town deletes those posts because they're
Mm-hmm.
nasty, and now you've infringed on somebody's right to
Yeah.
free speech.
Right.
Whereas if you don't even allow the possibility of dialogue in the first place, you're just presenting information, you avoid that whole problem.
And there are plenty of other sites that do exactly that.
Correct.
I don't think Annie allows.
Now, our
posting.
town of
Oh, yeah, you
Atlanta,
can comment on,
Oh,
yeah,
on the town of Atlanta, with,
Yeah.
we,
town
yeah,
of Atlanta Facebook post, you can comment.
Yes.
I know that Atlanta
And
uncensored.
I don't know
and
how
all.
you, we have nothing to do with
No.
it.
it's after you post it, you can limit who can comment on it.
Okay. So you probably have to do it for
Every
each post.
post, you have to.
But I
you
think that
have
needs to be something that we write in here. I don't think we should have any public
and see, we
comments on
really
it.
don't have a social media policy.
Well,
to
it's,
talk to. Yeah, this would
right
be.
here.
I
That's
need
what
to
I'm saying,
talk
since
to
we're
Alex
creating,
about that.
since
Yeah.
we're creating one,
Yes.
let's say no post should not have comments enabled, or should have comments disabled, or something like that.
See how it actually.
We should
reads.
probably also
know
say,
how to do-
we should probably also say in here that the town does not conduct business via
On
social
Facebook,
media.
yeah.
So if somebody asks a question through private message, it's okay to provide them an answer if there is an answer. But that's the end of it. You can't, we're not solving problems through here.
Mhm.
We're disseminating information. That's it.
This isn't the same as it used to be. So I think that may be something that you have to set up. It's not, the posts aren't coming up with the same, where you can limit the comments afterwards. I think it's gonna be something you have to do on
Let's see.
the page, through the business part of the page.
Maybe you could come in one day and you and Annie
Yeah.
could figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, because it
I'm
used
so
to be
sorry,
on
but I'm
every
just ignorant
post,
on it.
used to be on every post, you could check those three little dots at the
Who
top
can
and then
comment?
tell it who could comment. But it doesn't do
Who
that
can
anymore.
comment on your I just did it on one of mine. Who can comment on your post? Public, friends and established followers,
Oh.
friends of friends, friends, or app profiles and pages you mentioned. So
Right, I'm
how
not
do you,
seeing that on mine anymore.
but I don't see anything that says no comments. Hang on.
Well, if you use the one where you say only profiles that are mentioned, that pretty much limits the comments
Sure.
because you didn't mention any,
Right. Okay.
Mm.
Fair enough.
okay?
So in other words, as long as you're not tagging somebody.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But
Okay.
mine aren't even saying that anymore. So that's weird. Oh, it's because I'm looking at it. That's not, yeah, never mind. I got it. I understand now. I kind of switched.
Okay. So it looks like you can turn them off. It's just going to be after the post is made.
Yes.
You have to go to the options on that post. And
Yeah, I can come up and go over that with Annie.
Okay, yeah, please do.
okay, so no comments. Yeah, I don't know if we need any changes other than that to social media.
Okay.
Oh, well, actually, I think, is it fair to say the town does not conduct business via social media or outside of a council meeting? The town, I mean,
Okay, yeah. I've actually been, we can actually go through, the state for, our website. And I've actually seen where a lot of other clerk treasurers are liking that. So I was thinking about having Annie look into that.
What
Please
is it
do.
again?
our site sucks.
Yeah.
We
yeah,
have been
please.
wanting to do something with it
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah, because they've been saying that you can go through the state, they'll set it up, blah, blah, blah. And they've been to our conferences before.
Okay.
But I'm kind of thinking, I'm like you, I'm kind of like thinking ours is kind of stale.
It
Yeah.
is.
You know, maybe.
And I
we
don't know
can-
what they have too, but like, yeah, it could be way better organized. It could have a better look, a little cleaner, a little more modern, a little easier to find certain things.
You're talking about our website?
Yes.
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 Mhm.
Yes.
It needs a revamp.
Yes.
Okay. Computer and email usage. I'm glad this is in here. Employee may only use town issued email account assigned to them when engaging in or conducting town related business.
Yes.
I think employees should notify the clerk treasurer and the president of the council if they know of a violation. So I think it'd be fair that, or
Which paragraph are you?
down at the very bottom of 33.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay.
And what'd you say? Employees should notify.
You should know, but somebody from the council should know too. I think that should be an and instead of an or.
Okay.
How long y'all willing to move along?
This is almost 8, isn't it?
We going till 8? We going
Till
till
8. Till 8, probably.
Okay.
Is
Let's
that
do another
okay?
14, 15 minutes
And
here.
then do we want to schedule another one to finish this up before
That
the
would
end
be
of the year?
nice, that
Okay.
would be nice.
Okay.
I can go ahead and
Just hoping to be able to be done today.
Well, I mean, I don't have
Everybody
anything
play
else.
this
I
year.
could stay.
Unless we just,
Yeah,
Plug
this,
on.
is,
A lot
this,
of this
this would
is-
take another hour and a half. I
Some
don't
of
know if I
this-
want to be here
no.
another hour and a half.
I know,
yeah.
I mean,
We
All right,
started on
517 internet usage. Let's scan through that real quick.
That should be
pretty much straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like boilerplate
Mhm.
stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
518 workplace monitoring. fair enough. I think we should be able to investigate, I guess, complaints of, verify, first off, that somebody is doing what they're supposed to do, with or without a complaint, but especially if there is a complaint, it'd be nice to have the ability to monitor our own systems, or how they're being used by an employee. Only through designated spokespersons speaking to the media, 519, that's good.
Yes.
It's so goofy that workplace violence is something we gotta include in here.
Yep.
22.
Okay, they've made a wrong reference. At the top of page 36, in the first paragraph, it says refer to policy 708, problem resolution, and 708 is resignation, not problem resolution.
Okay.
So
So what that should be.
yeah, I don't know where the other. Problem resolution may be, I don't.
I'll put a question mark there.
Oh, it's a 718 instead of 708.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that change, does that section look okay?
I think so.
I do too, and I think this section might be one that it's actually, I think we should know about problems, but I do think that it would be okay for somebody to go to their supervisor. I think this language isn't necessarily bad. Report to the town superintendent, the clerk treasurer, or a member of the town council, which would be, depending on the circumstance, the expectation should be that you go to your supervisor, but if they are, if
they're
they're
the
either the
problem.
source of the problem, or if they don't take it seriously,
Right,
you have other options there.
yes.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that needs a rewrite to make that more clear, but I think that's okay, actually having that language there, that you're not limited to just going to your direct supervisor.
Agreed.
Kind of give you the steps here, the
Yeah.
chain of command.
Yeah.
Start with the person. If that doesn't work, go to your next and then to your next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on the second paragraph in that, workplace violence prevention, so am I allowed to bring my gun up here?
I don't care.
It says firearm weapons and other dangerous or hazardous devices are prohibited being brought into the facilities
Without problem.
Unless, or
Without
without proper
proper
authorization.
authorization.
Choo, choo, you're authorized.
Thank you.
I don't see a problem.
If you've
with
got
I
a carry
think that
permit.
when they're talking
I
about
do.
this in the context of violence,
more violence than it is
Uh,
protection.
it's probably one of those, like, we said it, you know,
Mhm.
you're not bringing a gun with the intent of committing violence. You're
No.
bringing it for protection, which is a different orientation.
Just a-
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Five 26 mobile devices.
Do we want to stop here? I know you guys have talked and
We
talked
could-
about this.
You want to talk? You want to
Wait on this one.
let's go through this one, and we can revisit it next time if we need to. But I personally want to get to 600
Okay.
and stop
Sure.
before 600. Like, let's finish the fives here.
That'll work.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's
Agree.
fine. Okay.
Paragraph 3 deals with excessive use during working hours. Occasional brief personal mobile device usage is permitted within reasonable limit. Employees are urged to keep their conversations, emailing, texting, data usage activity brief, kept only urgent matters if used during working hours. Employees should conduct lengthy conversations and or emailing, texting, or data usage on their lunch break or during non-working hours.
So basically, as long as it doesn't interfere with their
With their job.
daily job.
And
The town of Atlanta reserves the right to ban all mobile device usage during working hours if usage becomes problematic. That's another thing that I was thinking makes sense, and so I'm glad that's it.
But if they're using their personal phone, how do we ban that?
You can't have it while you're at work. We could say that.
We can?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize we
I
could
just-
be that.
As I said, they could do it with the fire department, they could do it with us, like,
Yeah, if it's getting in the way of you doing work,
Mhm.
you're here to work.
I know a funny story, not a funny story, it's a true story. Down in our kitchen, cafeteria manager had to have the girls, it just got so bad that they bring their phones in and set them on her desk during work hours, just because
Mhm.
it just got to be an issue.
Oh, send one to the supervisor's
On the-
desk.
yeah, on the cafeteria manager's desk.
yeah, restricting access or
And if
something
they
like
had
that.
to use it, you know, if it rang or, you know,
Right.
and that took care of, I don't think.
It's one of those, there's an expectation if you have something going
Yes,
on,
Sure, yeah.
but it's one of those, like, if it's, we can restrict it if need be.
If
And
And
I
you know,
don't think that we would ever say you can't use your phone, and then you come in a week later and you have, hey, my mom's in the hospital, can I keep it with me today?
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna say no.
No,
Right.
exactly.
We're gonna say, absolutely, you can have it today.
Well, and where we're at in our situation, our employees use their personal phone to take care
Sure,
of town
so
business.
that's something that
with
Uh,
apps and
I think we
things.
continue to talk about, or
Yeah.
maybe I don't know much about it, but I know there's people that have two numbers on a phone. You can somehow assign a second number to a phone, and maybe that makes sense. Maybe the town gets a cell phone number for whoever works for the utilities, that then you could set up the call forwarding to
Mm-hmm.
their phone or the second number,
Yeah.
or however that works. And then pay a, $20 stipend to them or something like that, so you don't have it, because I was out here working all day, I wouldn't want to carry two
Oh, I
phones.
know, that's, I know.
I also think, though, that we shouldn't require, you have to be able to get in touch with your people, right? But I don't think that, other than communication or general communication, I don't think I wouldn't say you can require somebody to use their personal device that they pay for to conduct town business.
Mhm.
You should be able to get in touch with them at all times. But they shouldn't have to use their device for town business. And so I don't know if we need to make that more explicit in here as well. At the option, somehow at the option of the employee, you can use your device for this, or we can issue you one if you need to have a device for town business.
Yes.
But either way,
And if If you have downloaded any apps that are applicable to town business on your personal phone, when you leave, we have to be sure that you have cut off
Sure,
access.
and actually, we should be able to handle that on the back end anyway. So like, what's his name can shut off Outlook and all, you know, can shut off all the,
Right.
Yeah.
that
I
stuff.
emailed you guys this from Kathy, right? And it was
I don't
town-owned phones versus personal phones.
Oh,
Oh, I
I have a
probably
vague
didn't read
memory of that. I don't remember what it's saying.
Yeah, that,
But anyway, I think that's something that we could examine and
Sure.
move it forward. And I think now is probably the time to at least understand what the options are there and try to spell it out.
so keep 526 as is right now.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe, and we'll see what this looks like as we go through it. Maybe we add to it, but I wouldn't take anything away from it. I think
Okay.
it's good. Maybe we add to it something about employees who are required to be available 24/7 or to conduct town business. You know, something about either issuing a phone or issuing a forwarded number to their device with a stipend, something like that.
Okay.
Can I make a motion that we adjourn?
Please do.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting?
Can we set another one?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Next Monday, the 22nd.
It's a regular town board meeting.
No,
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
That's not.
29th
That's
is-
right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
6 o'clock.
I'll see what I can do.
Is that good for you, Murray?
No, it's fine. I only work 300 hours a month. It's okay. It's okay.
Don't take your youth for granted.
Yes, don't do it.
Making hay while the sun shines, I guess.
Take it for granted, buddy.
Well, maybe if we can get this wrapped up next meeting though, I can get all the changes to her and she can get, you know, everything.
Act on it by the end of the last meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're saying the 22nd at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Another special meeting to hopefully wrap up our
Yes.
review of the employee handbook and try to finalize whatever changes
I
that we
will.
think
I'm
need
just
made. It won't be a final version,
No.
but we will have at least identified all the areas that we
Right,
think
yes.
need some revisions. And
Adopt this first of the year.
yep, and Fred, does your motion to adjourn still stand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Yes.